Hello everybody, Linda here from the OCD Expert. So today I want to talk about to stop doing this to become free from OCD. And what I mean by stop doing this, I mean stop doing the known therapies, the main therapies you may be doing, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to deal with OCD, which is a very illogical, emotional, fear-based state, with something that's logical. I know from myself personally that has suffered with OCD, I tried CBT, ERP. While I got short-term effects, in other words, I started feeling a little bit better short-term, long-term, I was still back repeating the same cycles. So I'd recommend you looking for a way that's going to reset your nervous system, and that's what I do. I treat OCD by resetting with specific techniques that actually reset the nervous system. So we're dealing with something within, we're dealing with changing the fear base that's in the subconscious mind, and we're changing it for good. And this is what happened to one of my clients who was suffering with OCD, intrusive thoughts of harm, for 28 years. These thoughts were obviously very, very frightening. She was crippled with OCD, intrusive thoughts on a daily basis. She was crippled with severe anxiety and distress and felt depressed. And if you can imagine suffering with that for 28 years, it's a lot of your life to be living with such fear, such distress, and it was the thoughts that were making her feel that distressed. She had done CBT, she'd done ERP, she'd gone to psychologists, psychotherapists, you name it, whatever's there, she tried it. And she was getting some relief, you might say, in the moment. Like within a session, she'd feel a little bit better after the session, but then she was back to square one maybe a few days later, and the thoughts were becoming more and more intrusive and more frightening. From there, she had found my treatment. What I do is I treat the root cause of OCD, so it's all at the nervous system. When we learn to rebalance the nervous system, the person is no longer in a state of flight and fight, an overactive state. She was on medication, so to this day she is not experiencing the intrusive thoughts. But first of all, we deal with the anxiety, so she's very little anxiety, therefore she's very little intrusive thoughts. The intrusive thoughts are very rarely there, she said, if ever. She is now free to live her life from 28 years of suffering with something, free to live her life, to create whatever she wants. She's more present with her family, she's feeling better. Life has just changed. She said like it just has been a dramatic change. And this didn't take so long. This wasn't given, tools to use, yes, on a daily basis, but we need something to change it long term. It only took a few months, from 28 years to a few months, and she's completely a different person. So I want to share that with you today as inspiration and hope, and to know that there is another way, and to know that once you can heal within, everything starts to change. If you'd like to find out more, and if you're sick of really having these intrusive thoughts, which I'm sure you have, if you have OCD, let's be honest, they are crippling. Suffering with anxiety on a regular basis due to these intrusive thoughts. Another thing would be constantly doing compulsions in order to give you relief from these intrusive thoughts. I have a free Facebook group. It's called Become Free from OCD. And if you join that, I will be able to educate you more on how you can become free from OCD in a short period of time. And you don't have to live your life crippling with these effects of OCD, which is anxiety, lack of sleep, and just not feeling like, really feeling bad, really feeling like you want to just get rid of these thoughts, and you do whatever it takes, and you're constantly bombarded with them. And that's how I was, so I know how it feels, so I know I can completely relate to people in that space. So if you'd like to join, the group is below in the Facebook page, and I look forward to seeing you then. Thank you for listening.